I don't know, it seems to fit for me for the color of this pen. Hello and welcome back to my Dandelion Diaries. I have another new pen day here. So the lovely James and April of Bonecrusher 7 Studios sent me this pen and I am so grateful. It is a different model than the 𝗦𝘂𝗽. So if you are new to this channel, this is the Bonecrusher 7 𝗦𝘂 model. I am obsessed with this model. I have way too many of them now. They're probably one of my favorite pen bodies to hold. And they were kind enough to send me, the team over at Bonecrusher 7, kind enough to send me the new model, or newer model, I'm not sure, which is the olive. So this one over here, that's the greener one, is the 𝗦𝘂𝗽, and the new one here is the olive. So we're going to be going over some comparisons and just overall, I guess, similarities to both models, and then I'll also do some other comparisons to like other pens you may have seen, like a 𝗬𝘁𝗶𝘁 or a 𝗦𝗵cie, things like that. So let's just get started. So first off, let's talk about just the pen in general. This pen is from Bonecrusher 7 Studios. It is the olive model, and the resin or the blank that was used for this does not have a name. So I am going to attempt to name it myself. It is from 𝗦𝘃𝗃 Penworks, so it's I believe diamond cast. And the colors remind me a lot of like cosmic space aliens, like with this light bright green in here and like the deeper purple and the blues and the little specks of like holographic glitter throughout. So I think the name I'm gonna go with is Cosmic Cowboy. I don't know, it seems to fit for me for the color of this pen. Anyways, the cap does have a nice set of threads on it, so let's do a little turn test. So we have 1, 2, and some change. So like 2.5, maybe like 2.25. And then these are the threads that I'm talking about. If you have never held a Bonecrusher 7 pen, these threads are practically non-existent. It is wild to me how well these pens seal and how you don't even feel the threads, especially with your hands resting right here. This is what the grip section looks like. I love the little flare at the base of their grip sections. I feel like it helps my fingers stop from like creeping all the way onto the nib. Like it's a nice little spot for my fingers to rest if my hands start to slide down. But ultimately, I can hold it on the threads. I can hold it back here. I can hold it in the middle. There's seriously so many good places to rest your hand on these models. I feel like James, the crafter, does such a wonderful job in terms of the craftsmanship. Like truly, like these are fantastic. The pen is a cartridge converter. Let me see if I can get this open. Here we go. So we have a standard Schmidt converter in here. You could also do your standard international cartridges if you wanted to do that. Or if you're feeling extra fancy, you could even eyedropper these pens. So you just need a little bit of silicone grease and you can just grease this up right here and then fill this back part with ink and screw it all back together and have a very large capacity of ink. I personally will be inking this up today using the converter that they so kindly provided. I also have this in a medium nib. The Bonecrusher 7 pens take a 𝗬𝗻 nib, at least all the ones that I have, and this one is a 𝗬𝗻 medium in the polished colorway. If you were to order with Bonecrusher, they do have like every other color nib, I think. I know I've gotten gold ones, black ones, and rose gold ones too. I do think there is an upcharge for some of the colors though, but still, they're absolutely gorgeous. And then his pens also have a finial, so with their logo, he pushes in a finial, and the color of the finial will match either the nib that you choose, or you can pick whatever color finial you want, I believe. You just have to specify when you do your order. But yeah, I cannot recommend his pens enough. I'm obsessed with them. The gloss on these is phenomenal. Like they're super shiny, very well crafted. I adore them. But let's go ahead and compare to other pens so you can see, I guess, size-wise how the olive compares to the 𝗦𝘂𝗽, and then also how it would compare to maybe some other pens you've seen before. Okay, so here in the middle we have your Bonecrusher 7 Studios olive, and this one is the Bonecrusher 7 Studios 𝗦𝘂𝗽. So they are very similar, same height. The 𝗦𝘂𝗽 is just slightly thicker. So it has, I think it's like 1 millimeter or 2 millimeters more of thickness. especially in the grip section. So if you need a thinner grip than the classic, I don't know how well the camera is going to pull that off, but it does have a very slightly smaller grip section on the Olive model than the Velma model. I personally find both of them incredibly comfortable. I have been head over heels with the Velma model for most of this year since I got my very first Bonecrusher. And the Olive is probably not going to be any different. The 1mm difference in the grip size is not going to make a huge difference to me, but if you're very sensitive to the, I guess, way you grip a pen, that might be the main difference. But again, the Olive here and then the Velma, both by Bonecrusher 7 Studios. Here is it next to a 𝗬𝘗𝗵, or not a 𝗬𝘗𝗵, an 𝗬𝘗𝘁𝗵. This is the King of Night. And then here is it next to a 𝗬𝘗𝗵 Eco. Here is it next to an 𝗦𝘃𝗍𝑉 126, which essentially is the same as like a Pilot Custom A23. And then just for fun, where do I have? I'll use my Sailor. This is a Sailor Pro Gear, just so we can see that it is a bit of a larger pen. I would definitely consider the Olive model and the Velma both to be considered large pens. They do not post. They're not meant to post. I feel like if you were to try to push this on the back here, you might end up cracking the cap. So would not recommend posting these pens, but we can do a lineup of just how big the pen is itself without the caps really quick. All right, so here we have all of the uncapped pens. So we have the Sailor Pro Gear, the 𝗦𝘃𝗍𝗵 126, the Bonecrusher 7 Studios Velma, the Bonecrusher 7 Studios Olive, the 𝗬𝘗𝗏, and then the 𝗬𝘗𝗵 Eco. Again, it is a very large pen, especially if you like larger pens or you want a longer pen, especially since you can't post it. I feel like these are incredibly comfortable in the hand. I will say that some of these other pens, like the Sailor Pro Gear, for me personally, posting it makes it much more comfortable in hand for me than an unposted version. So it just depends on your pen size preference, but I think the Olive is a really great size, and I'm definitely biased because I'm obsessed with the Velma, so take what I say with a grain of salt, I guess. And before I move on into inking up the Olive over here, I just wanted to share the collection of Bonecrushers that I have. I have gone a bit crazy with their pens. I truly love the construction of them, the gloss of them, the feel of them in my hand. But yeah, I definitely have gone a bit nuts in getting them this year, considering I just started getting them this year. Anyways, these were the first two I started off with. I made a whole video about these two here. This is the Stellar Dust resin from Poorly Controlled. I love the kind of holographic sparkling that is all throughout this. I don't have a nib in this one right now, but it's just so gorgeous. This one next to it here is a blue and gold shadows, and it has almost like a iridescent kind of shift in the gold. It's so cool. This one is by Cocoon Blanks. It's so cool. Then I have this one here, which is the Dragon Knight resin from Carolina Pen Co., Jonathan Brooks. I love the subtle teal shimmering throughout this. I really love a good black pen with some kind of fun things going on. This is just one of those for me. Then I have this one here from Hobble Creek Craftsman. This one is called, I think, Luminous or something like that. I'm not 100% sure on the resin of this one actually, but it has a color shift to it where it goes from like purple to pink to brown. It's really pretty. This is one of their newer resins. It's called Witch's Brew. So you probably saw it's kind of green right now. And then as I turn it around, it turns more blue. It's so cool. They have a few colors of these. And the back here, I really want an eyedropper. I haven't inked this one up yet, but I really want to eyedropper the back of the pen because it is clear with the iridescent shimmering in it that's also kind of color shifty. I really want to put a good chroma shading ink in this, but it's so cool. So definitely check out their Witch's Brew collection, which is a resin they pour in-house at Bonecrusher. And then this one here is probably one of my favorite ones. This is Schism, also by Hobble Creek Craftsman, and it just reminds me of Star Trek. It's like a galaxy. It's so pretty with the iridescence, almost like butterfly wings, and like the little bits of black starry pieces in here. It's so, so cool. Then I have this one here, which is called 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃, which is from Kevin Zog. He's the resin maker for this one. This is probably like my favorite color palette, honestly, with the pink, green, and gold. I feel like this is what I always reach for every year when I'm doing like my health planner, is these three colors. I don't know. It's just a very soothing color palette to me. And then I have this one here, which is probably my ultimate Bonecrusher. This is the Wildflower resin from Poorly Controlled. It is the earthiest pen I have, and I adore it so, so much. It has little flecks of purple and teal that kind of ribbon throughout. You can see a little bit of it right there, with the brown and the green. And it has like this milky color down here. It's so, so pretty. And then the grip section has this big, nice white shimmering piece. I love it. This is, yeah, this one's probably my favorite Bonecrusher that I have. I don't think I'd ever part with this one. And then this other one here is also by Poorly Controlled, and this one is Sunflower. And this has these gorgeous little orange ribbons throughout with the white and the green and the yellow. And it reminds me of summer, and sunflowers are one of my favorite things to grow, just because we do the mammoth sunflowers here on our property, and they get like 8 feet plus tall. They're so huge. You can see more of the fences. They're just really fun to grow, and this reminds me a lot of that. All right, so that is my Bonecrusher 7 Studios collection. I'm definitely going to slow down because I do not need any more. I've almost filled up a whole drawer of just Bonecrusher 7 Studio pens, but seriously, they are, I think, I don't know, I would consider them like my favorite pen body at this point because I love having them. I have almost enough now for like one every month of the year. Yes, I really truly love these pens. They're absolutely fantastic, and I'm so excited to give the Olive model a try. Considering it's slightly smaller, I think I'm going to love it just as much as the Velma's. And with that, let's go ahead and ink up this olive here. So again, I'm going to call this resin 𝗦𝘃𝗃𝗃𝗃 since it doesn't have its own name, but I am going to ink up with an ink from the color vent, sorry, of 2024. This was actually one of the inks that made it in the vote as a top 3 contender. This is Milky Way, and I figured with the purple base of this and the more iridescent blue-like shimmer, it would match the kind of purple of this pen with the blue and the green and the silver kind of flecks throughout. So we're gonna see how this goes. Okay, so unfortunately, when I have gone to ink up this pen, the grip section does not fit in the vial entrance of the 𝗬𝗏𝗏 bottle here, which is fine. So I'm gonna get my ink miser, which if you've never seen one of those before, give me just a second. Essentially, it looks like this. It is a little cup that you pour ink into, and then you can submerge your entire nib into the thinnest point, so that way it can suck up the ink even if you have a very, very small amount of ink in the vial. So I'm going to use this just to make it a bit easier to ink the pen up, because I don't really want to just ink only the converter. So I'm going to take a dropper and just kind of stir up the shimmer in this one more time with the base of my dropper here, and then I'm going to suck up some of the ink and just put it straight into the ink miser. I'll do 2 of these little dropperfuls, even though it's probably way too much ink, like I won't need that much, but I do want to just make sure I get a nice full fill. And we will ink this up this way. So I have my entire converter plunged, and I'm going to submerge the nib and part of the grip section into the ink miser and screw the converter back up just to suck up as much ink as I can. And it's not a full fill, but I can live with that type of fill right here. This will be plenty for what I want to do with this pen. And I'm just going to put the pen back together, and then I'm going to pour this ink back into the vial using the dropper, just because I don't want to accidentally spill purple ink all over my desk, which would definitely be something I would do. All right, now let's go ahead and do a writing sample. So I'm just going to start. Again, this is a medium nib. So this is the, oh gosh, that's gorgeous, Bonecrusher 7 Studios. And this is the olive model. And I'm going to call it Cosmic Cowboy. And my ink is Colorverse Milky Way. And this nib is phenomenal. Also, I adore this ink. This was one of the ones I voted for from the color vent. It's so pretty. It's like a nice deep medium purple, and it just has the shimmer, and it's so pretty with like the iridescent kind of blue. Yeah, I am definitely a fan. This is just your classic 𝗂𝘶 nib, so I'm not going to go on too much about it. I feel like I talk about these nibs all the time, but the medium is phenomenal. The fines are phenomenal. The extra fines are phenomenal. They're very easy to take and get work done on. You can send them off to a pen master or nib meister and get them fixed if you have any issues. They're relatively inexpensive if you need to replace parts on them. I am a huge fan of the 𝗂𝘶 nib, so no complaints. And they do reverse writing as well, which if you are a fan of having 2 different writing widths in one nib size, it's kind of a cool feature. But yeah, that is the olive model from Bonecrusher 7 Studios. I'm obsessed. I'm so grateful. I really truly love the resin on this too. It's so cool. I think Cosmic Cowboy is a good fit, but if you think it has a better name, that needs a better name, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear any suggestions for naming this adorable resin in this adorable pen. So I'm gonna leave it off here. If you have a Bonecrusher pen, I would love to hear about it down in the comments as well. But for now, I'm gonna wish you the best. Be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.